Okay. Good evening, everybody. It's your favorite Auntie Lynn. No, I'm just playing. I'm here with, I am one of your three aunties, your favorite aunties. Today, we're going to be talking about self-care. And for self-care, that can mean many things to many people. It is, you define it. Savannah Winters defines it as self-care is deliberately taking care of your well-being through restorative actions. Restorative activities. So whatever that means, however you have to sit down and restore yourself so that you're not burnt out at the end of the day, do that. I'm here with Miss Helen Collier and Miss Leslie, your other two aunties, and today we want you to sit down and learn you something.
Hmm.
And if we're not going to have all the answers, we are not, but we're going to try to help you remind you to take care of you. So there were these two sisters who were raising young families, and they were spending a lot of time with their kids, with their husbands, with all the activities, the school activities, the sports activities, and everything. The husbands decided one day that they were going to take care of the kids. Once they decided they were going to take care of the kids, the two moms had time alone to do what? Once they got together, they didn't know what to do because they were so busy, wrapped up in taking care of everybody else, going to school events, sports events, or whatever. They didn't know what to do with themselves. And I've talking to lots of people, and especially there's some people in the healthcare field that I was talking to as well. And they said this is more common. It's like a phenomenon that this kind of thing happens all the time. You think you're isolated in your day-to-day activities, but you're not. There are other women, other moms that are going through who also don't practice self-care.
Hmm.
Um, let's see. And then when stress is your companion, it feels uncomfortable when you don't have that stress. And so you don't know what to do with your body. You don't know, you're looking at other people like, oh, I wish I could be at the beach, or I wish that I could go get massages. I wish I could get my nails done. But you don't because you're so stressed out doing everything for everybody else. You just don't make the time for yourself. Um, Sorry about that, y'all. When talking recently with a mom, she disclosed that even when she does have time, she's so burnt out that she can't do anything but sleep. That's all she wants to do is just sleep because she's so burnt out from doing taking care of all the day-to-day activities for everybody else. It might be taking people to their doctor's appointments or whatever, but too stressed out to do anything when you do have the time. And all she wants to do is sleep. And that too is an epidemic. Um, So I want you to think about today some things and be honest with yourself. Take some time, even if you have to pause this, think about each question. But I challenge you to start today to think about these questions. If time, money, or whatever it is that holds you back, set you back, were not a factor, how would you show up for you? How would you show up for you if time, money, or any other factor um, that holds you back now was not in play, how would you show up for you? The second one is, what is something you've always wanted to do but haven't done for yourself? What is something you've always wanted to do but haven't, for whatever those factors were in question one? And then number three is, how much time do you spend getting to know yourself? Because there's a lot of times, even in relationships and things like that, where we're serving everybody else and we know what they want. I know one time I went to the doctor. This was just recently too. I went to the doctor and the lady asked me my birthday. She asked me my phone number and something else. And I was like, I don't know. Ask me something about my husband or my granddaughter. I can answer that, right? Because I have all their information in the front. But to answer something about me, I just like froze on simple questions like my birth date, you know? So how much time are you spending actively getting to know yourself, the things that you want, the things that pertain to you? And then number four are what are your peak performance hours? And I ask this question because a lot of times we give the world our best and then we give ourselves what's left over. When we're burnt out, we don't have energy, we can't sleep and all that, we're tired. And then we start to try to dream about, oh, if this, back to question one, if I had enough money, if I had enough time, if I had enough anything, I would do something, but you're too tired to even really dream. So think about that. Think about setting out some time for yourself during your peak performance hours and getting to know what you want, dreaming, planning for yourself. And with that, I'll talk anymore. Give it over to Leslie.
Hmm. Good evening, everyone. Hmm. I'm thinking about the questions that you just posed, and what comes to mind as we're getting ready to cover this topic on self-care is the old saying that goes a little something like this: if you have to save yourself before you can save someone else, right?
Yeah.
And when you think about women in particular, I'm a woman, and I'm a mother, I'm an auntie, I'm a whole lot of things to a whole lot of people. And for a very long time it's been like that. Um and so I had to get really selfish. And fortunately for me, one of your questions, Lynn, was um how or when did we get to know ourselves.
Mhm.
And fortunately for me, I'm in a new season of my life, but I had a long time to get to know myself, get to know what it is that Leslie will and will not accept, what it is that I want. And I'm still learning. Nobody's perfect. I'm still navigating this thing called life. But in the spirit of that, I have come to a place as a 53-year-old woman today where I love me time. That is a form of self-care for me. I love to um, be, around water. I love to do things that bring me a feeling of calmness and peace, and just that natural joy inside, if that makes sense. Not the joy that other people bring you, not the joy of having fun laughing with your girlfriends, but as a woman of faith in God, I like to be surrounded by nature. And I don't know, it just brings me it gives me what I need. And so um I was thinking about the question also that you brought up: what would I do if money and time wasn't a factor? Well, most recently, I just, as you both know, booked a trip to sail at sunset in Seattle. That is for me first and foremost. It's because, like I said, I love the water, and it's something that I know will bring me um I don't even think there's words for it to put to it, what it's going to do for my spirit and my soul and myself. And that's for me. Recently I just decided after work one day to go get me a nice little pedicure, and a massage. That is for me. There's a lot of different things that I want to tap into as far as self-care goes. I think that it's important for us to think about internal self-care as well as external self-care, because you can do things that will um, enrich your inner self, that will bring your inner self back to life. um, and I think it's important for people to know what their needs are. Everybody's different. We have different people in turn. We have men, we have women, we have different ages, we have different stages of life. So it's important that a person knows what their needs are. when I talk about internal self-care, for me, first and foremost is my prayer life. It has to be healthy. It has to be continual. And no matter what life looks like on a day-to-day basis, I know that God is my constant. And that's where I can find peace, even in the midst of turmoil. So for someone else, it could be yoga. It could be just sitting still in the quietness.
Do the
You
yoga.
know, huh? It's hard to
Let's
find
do
that.
the yoga.
Yeah, it's hard to find those times. And my peak hours are early in the morning when it's quiet, like the Bible says. God was walking around in the cool of the day. And when I think about the cool of the day, it's before the sun comes up, it's when the dew is still out. And that is a time for me when I want quietness. And something it just brought to my mind that I just recently did for myself, and it aligns with self-care, is putting my phone on do not disturb before I go to bed, because I don't want to be woke up at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning by dings. I want to wake up naturally, and I want to be able to just have God on my mind first and foremost. Thank you, Lord, for another day. Thank you that I'm in my right mind. It's things like that. And then late in the evening, when I'm getting ready to go to sleep, when it's quiet and there's nothing going on but just that stillness. And so the external, I could say, some people like to work out. I do like to work out. I was working out a lot, let's just say a year ago, and I'm trying to get back to that because I know what it brings me and I know how it makes me feel inside and outside, when I know I'm doing something for myself. And it's not just the aesthetic look of what working out does for you, but it's, keeping your heart healthy. It is knowing that you're taking care of this body. If you think about it in terms of a machine, you want to oil it, you want to, take care of it, you want to shine it up, you want to do the things that you need to do to your body internally and externally that will have it working at its best, right? So I had a couple of questions myself, for our audience, and one was just, how good are you at self-care? Um, and I want people to really take a moment and think about, especially women, and I just say that because we wear so many hats, but think about all the people in your inner circle, your outer circle, whoever you're connected to, how much you do for other people. And then look at yourself and ask yourself, how much do you do for you? And why is it that you feel like you're not worthy or of equally or just as much time to pouring into yourself as you pour into others, um I think we need to get back to that. I think we need to understand how important it is in life to care for ourselves in whatever way is important to us, because we're all different, and that is the beauty of life. But yeah, um, I just really I want to have this conversation because it's important, and so with that, I'm going to pass it over to Miss Helen Collier, and let's hear what she has to say on the topic.
Come on, Miss Helen. Straight no
Hey,
chase.
ladies, and there was once a time when you worked 12 hours, no break, no nothing. That was your day. You had to, and then it was discovered that people work better when they had a break or had a
Mhm.
time off from if it's 15 minutes or it's time to eat or something. When you when that happened, people begin to think about their personal self-help that they're responsible for. You may say to yourself, but what I am doing is necessary. What I am doing, I have to do because I have to take care of my family. Well, one day I said to myself, I need to find Helen. Where is she? She's mother, sister, wife, employee, always taking care of someone else. Where is she? Who's going to take care of her? So I said to my husband, I just booked me a flight. I will be gone 15 days looking for me. He was totally shocked. My children were shocked. Everybody, and what I did, because my hair was, kind of lengthy, I just cut it off. Not all off, but just cut it, just because I needed a new growth. And I'm telling you, I needed a new growth. So I left. I went to New York. I went to Boston. I went all over the East Coast, and called back home, see how everybody was done. About the 14th day, my children said, "It's time for you to come home." Of course, my husband was already saying that, but in the aftermath, then I found myself, and I realized that the things that I had not even thought about that I needed, as far as finding who I was and being good to me, caring about me, and not worrying about everyone else around me. And what I also found out was that I could do more for those around me the better I treated myself. And so it's not to say, that you have to just ignore everyone. You have to just think about, but you have to remember, as Leslie said, the first person you got to save is you. If there's a crisis, and if you're unwell, you can't help someone else if you can't survive not having taken care of yourself to survive and just remember, not only is it physical well-being, it's also moral well-being. It's like, say, people will say, well, you've been working, you take care of this person. You may be a person who don't have to take care of anyone. You might have all the care, all the help you need to get you anywhere, take you anywhere. But if someone's controlling your life and telling you what you do, how to do it, when to do it, if you can do it, and who you got to do it with, and if you don't do it with them, who you going to do it, what's going to happen, you are still in a crisis because you have morally allowed someone to completely control your life, and it's not yours. It literally belongs to them. And once you take that first step to say, I need to take my life back, that's personal health care. And allowing you to become yourself, allowing you to respect who you are, and giving you the privilege to live your life in a way that make you feel good about yourself. If someone telling you something to do or controlling your life, and it's something that you are not happy and you're not pleased with, and you're just doing it because you want to get go along to get along, you want to be accepted, you're not really being accepted. You're being controlled, and your life is not your own, and the self-care that you're giving, someone else has it. It doesn't belong to you. So foremost, always remember, when you're thinking about self-care and you're thinking about yourself, remember, you are the one who's responsible for your health care. You're the one who's responsible for doing the things that make you feel good about yourself, healthy about yourself. It's a lot of ways to lose yourself. And that don't mean you have to pick up a stick, but it means that inside you're living in turmoil because you can't control your activities and the things that you want to do, and the responses to life. And when people ask you, there people say, well, Miss Helen, I wouldn't do it. I said, morally, I cannot accept what you're saying. I must do what I feel is morally right. I must do what I believe is going to enhance me as a person. Because I, first of all and foremost, have to live with Helen.
Mm.
So not this is not to say I don't fall. This is not to say that I haven't had to get up and and realize that is what I need to do. So I'm with the other two aunties, sweetheart. You must, and this is male or female. Once someone else controls your life, or once you give your life over to someone else, and you are not focused on how can I help someone else to help myself in order to help myself, because the better I treat myself, the better should treat someone else.
Mm-hmm.
And the more more must, and what I will say is most important, you have to control your own life and not let anyone else completely control it and take it from you. Because I don't care how you don't do or what you don't do, once someone else has control over your life, you're no longer who you should or actually want to be. I'm going to pass this on over to my sister Lily and let her come on with something good. But I really want you guys, to the ladies and males as well, to think about what it is to have personal self-awareness and self-care, and how that extends to your life as opposed to anyone else's.
Yeah. So earlier, Miss Helen, that's good. And Leslie, oh
Mm-hmm.
my gosh, y'all are so good because you guys understand the importance of self-care, right? And like we said, it can look like so many different things to so many different people, right? And then there are a lot of times where I see people hold themselves back because they don't have, let's say, money, right?
Mhm.
But like here in Washington, we can do, we have the Lake Washington and we have all the, you know what I mean?
Yes.
Still Lake and things like that where you can just go and just walk around or just sit in front
Mm-hmm.
of the water. But if water is not your thing, I mean, sometimes even just sitting out at night and waiting for the stars to come out, if you're outdoor. I am not a real outdoorsy person. Listen, bugs live out there, and I'm like, that's their domain, right? But
Uh-huh.
there's a lot of times like this. Have you guys seen Woodwick candles? So
Um,
these have the sound, and you get to see the sight, you get to smell it, and then you hear the little crackle. So the
mm,
Woodwick candles are my favorite. So when I'm writing or when I'm like stressing or whatever, I'll go and light me a Woodwick candle.
yeah.
You know what I mean? They're not all the same. I have some, you know, by a few different makers, but it's that Woodwick inside, right?
Mm,
And it gives you all the things. And sometimes you could find these at like the Goodwill or whatever, pick you one up. I guarantee
mm,
you'll be like, because it has a little crackle. It's not like the regular cotton wick or whatever it's made out of. These are wood, and you get, it's like there's something for all your senses. I'm telling you, sometimes it's a matter of just sitting, in the bathtub and, or sometimes it's just taking a long shower. I noticed a lot more apartments and stuff now don't have bathtubs. They only have
mm-hmm.
but the shower chairs at like, you know, um, what do you call those stores? I don't want to name names because I don't want to get in trouble. But
Oh.
the little convenience stores that have the little pharmacy with them, right?
Mm,
But the shower chairs there are only maybe like $25, right? So I mean, a couple packs of chips and a Coke, put it down and go buy you a shower chair. If you only have a shower, sit in that shower and let the water run over you. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
It's just little things that you can do for yourself for free that don't cost a lot of money. You could take yourself for a walk. If you can't walk, like if you're a person that has, low mobility, sometimes it's just a matter. I was talking to somebody today about just turning everything off. turn off your TV, turn off your phone, turn off, you know what I mean? Anything that you can turn off that's going to distract you from getting to know you or just having that relaxation time. There's sometimes when I'll take my headphones on at night and I'll put my headphones on because they're noise canceling, but I don't have anything running through them. I
Mhm.
just have the headphones on to help me sleep, you know, and it don't cost me nothing. You know what
Mhm.
I mean? Just to be in silence is like, I don't, you know, I don't want to hear noise sometimes, you
Mhm.
know. Sometimes
Mhm.
it's about standing in front of my sink and just washing the dishes and letting, I'm a, so you guys know I formulate, right? So sometimes it's a matter of me just putting my hands in something sensory
Mhm.
uh, to calm myself, and that gives my peace, you know,
Mhm.
and it don't cost nothing, really, you know.
Mhm.
It really doesn't, you know. So if you know, find some ways to do some things for free and then work towards the things that cost money, you know. If that means, you know, I gotta go with one less bag of popcorn a week, you know what I mean? So that I can afford a movie or something, you know. And sometimes self-care is finding somebody that you really enjoy spending time with and then doing that. Like me and Miss Helen had a great time last weekend,
We
right?
did.
Saturday, you know what I mean?
Absolutely. Unexpectedly.
Yes.
Mhm.
And for me, that was self-care because I did something that I
Was.
needed to do. I needed to be around some people that were positive, like-minded, moving forward thinking people. And that was my self-care, right? And I
So
did it.
you're saying what you're
I
saying is
love.
that it doesn't take all day or it doesn't take 2 or 3 days. Sometimes it just takes a couple of hours to get. Is that that's what you're really saying, huh?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes
It
it's just the little small things.
yeah. Not
I'm gonna,
anymore. Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be like expensive. It doesn't always have to take money, you know.
No, that's true. That
Yeah.
is so true.
Like you
Uh,
can find find what you need in the simple things. Like last night when I was driving home and I happened to see the sun and it was like this bright orange, like the sunset
mm.
behind land. And I was like, oh my God, that is so beautiful. I had to chase this. I seen it, and then I was driving, and you know we live in Washington where all these trees are. So then I couldn't see it until I literally got home, and then I seen it between all these trees, and I just took a picture of it because that to me is beautiful. That to me it was like a gift, you know. And so,
Yes.
yeah. But I really want to say something about what you said, Miss Helen, about the moral, you know, aspect because it's so important. And coming from a life experience that could have swallowed me up, right? Could
Hmm.
have broken my spirit, totally just dismantled me, if you will, because the system is so set up to do all of those things. And, you know, it's not just a saying like only the strong survive, more than the strong survive. And I want to point out, like, as human beings, as men, as women, just as human beings, period, in general, we could be the best people. We can love, we can care for, we can nurture, and then we could be the most awful of people. You know what I mean? And it's such it's just it's mind blowing to think of the different spectrums, like but coming from that life experience and seeing so many women and men alike allow their own independent thinking to be snatched away from them
Right.
to to however they got into the place or the mental space to think that their own thoughts, their own ideas, their own addition to life didn't matter. Only they know. But having seen all of that, um, I'm just really grateful that you brought that up, because it is so important to remember. Because if we don't remember that, how will we ever remember to take care of ourselves? You know.
Right.
And so,
That's the thing. If you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything, right?
yeah. And
Yeah.
looking back on that, it just is, I'm so thankful and so grateful for the strong women and men that surrounded me as a youth,
Right.
that allowed me to know that I am somebody, you know, and what I think matters. And I don't have to uh go along and get along. I don't have to be with 10 or 12 other people just because they think that they cool or they doing this, that, or the other.
Right.
No. Mm-mm.
Thank you. Thank you.
Standing on my own 2 feet and standing alone, I think I done did all right.
Right. And
And
and once
that's
you make a
something that we,
decision, whether you're, oh, I'm so sorry.
no, go ahead.
Once you you're not gonna get it up right all the time.
Right.
Sometimes you're gonna make a decision and then you're gonna say, "Oh my God!" But at least it's your decision,
Mm-hmm.
something that
Mm-hmm.
you thought of yourself.
Yeah.
And usually people don't think of hurtful things for other people unless they have someone influencing them,
Mm-hmm.
making them believe that that is what they should do. Whether they and if they are not sure, they will be caught up into something, and by the time they realize they are, it's actually sometimes it's really too late for them.
Yeah.
That's why, as a writer, I
Mm-hmm.
always find my characters with flaws.
Mm.
As long as they got flaws, I got a story.
Yeah.
Okay.
I love the way that
Okay.
you find the humanity in all your characters. It could be the worst person or whatever, but you do find that, and I tell you this all the time. It could be the worst character, someone that we would love to hate, and then you flip it and make us be like, huh, but they wasn't always like that, or
Mm.
they had a reason for doing whatever. But
Ex-
um Leslie, you had said, talking about other people who've been through situations who um didn't necessarily follow their own mind,
Mm-hmm.
go through. I think that's important for us to number one, live out our self-care, right?
Right.
But to show other self-care, and then to find someone that can mentor us, but
Mm-hmm.
also find someone that we can reach back to and mentor, right?
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
And show them, because not everybody sees I could do something for free. Not everyone feels like they're strong enough to,
Mm-hmm.
find the self-care and to do this, this, and this. And then looking at the person that you are today, but not realizing that, you've gone through too. I remember
Mm-hmm.
even talking to my mom as an adult,
Mm-hmm.
going like, man, you've always been so strong. And I think my mom is one of the most brilliant people in the world because she knows a little bit about everything, it seems,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like there's not really a subject you can broach that she doesn't know. But for her to get to the point where she's like, yes, I learned this, and now I'm going to teach it to other
Mm-hmm.
people, and I'm going to take care of myself in that way because that fills her cup to fill
Mm-hmm.
somebody else up, right? That's
Right.
another way that we can find self-care and indulge in self-care is to fill our cup, fill someone else up,
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, Leslie, you can't give from an empty cup. You
Right.
Right.
you also were talking about like taking care of your body, like your outer
Mm-hmm.
and your inner. And it just reminds me of, the scripture, um, what is it? It's Corinthians 6:19. I think it's First Corinthians. Anyway, 6:19, where Paul is saying your body is a temple of the Holy Spirit. And we
Mm-hmm.
take that to mean like, being clean inside and taking care of our thoughts and, the way that we treat ourselves. He was talking about a different context, but that's the scripture that comes to mind when I think about taking care of our inner and our outer,
Yeah,
you know,
definitely.
taking care of our whole selves,
Mhm.
taking a holistic approach. And I know that for me, I'm not the best eater, but I was talking to one of my mentors last week, about taking care of what you eat, what you put in your body is just as much as important is just as much of importance as taking care of the outer, right? How
Mhm.
you look, how you dress, how you smell, and all that kind of stuff. And then we going off eating, 7 bags of Cheetos. You know what I'm saying? So he was like, think about it. And he was like, you don't have to make like a drastic change all at once.
Right.
Little things. I know my daughter, goes on regular hikes and goes to the gym and, all that kind of stuff. And now she's got her dad going with her,
Mhm.
and that's self-care for both of them. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? So, like you talk about Miss Helen with being male and female, taking care of yourselves, we have
Yeah.
to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like that, you know.
It's always food for thought.
Yeah, it is.
When you can share that with others who sometimes don't even think about it, or be too busy to really sit down and make it a priority. And if they haven't thought about it and you bring it to their attention, you give them food for thought.
Mm-hmm. And I'm hoping that with all of these different like topics that we cover, not just self-care, we starting out with that. Like we spoke about it, I believe, in our intro, being a voice for the voiceless and being maybe like that springboard that would allow someone else who don't feel as courageous or strong enough to, like start doing things like as simple as what you said, Miss Helen. Self-care could be simply saying no, period. You know, and it might be a little small word, but it goes a long, long way.
You
And
can
for somebody who has been used to, back to what you said, morally allowing someone to come in and take over who they are, something as simple as saying no is a starting point. It's the springboard. It's letting them know that if you could do that, then you can stay on the road and you can continue caring for self. And I like to think about it something, you want something to live and grow, you feed it, you water it. And if you want it to die, you starve it out. So, if we could get into a space where we think about, I want to care for myself so that I can healthily care for others. Let me feed myself. Let me pour into myself. Let
right.
me, do the things that I need to do for me first, because like, you can't do nothing for nobody else if you can't do it for yourself. Starts with self.
That's true. That's true. Because if you drink a whole fifth of whiskey, you're gonna fall
Ah!
out. I'm always character coming up. That's it. And
Yeah.
so if somebody's feeding you that every day and telling you
Right.
okay, and that's what you have to do, and this is if you don't do this, then you're not one of us, and you're not a part of.
Yeah.
You try to be cool and cat, and they're not interested in but one thing:
Mm-hmm.
getting you drunk.
Right. Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, that's it.
Ain't that the truth?
Well, with all that being said, I want us each to share something that we're going to do in this upcoming to show self-care.
Hmm.
Y'all thinking about it?
Oh, you
I
probably
got me something.
Go ahead, share.
Well, I think I'm on to something new now. Now, you guys both know this is a new season for me. And I'm about living my this life, this latter part of my life, like not taking anything for granted, not taking time for granted, not taking opportunities or, anything for granted. So, like I said, and I'm so excited to go on this sail, on this sailboat. I am. And so I'm gonna do something similar, but I'm going to try to do some, not try, I'm going to like once a month at least book me some type of like little trip, or some kind of different experience, something that I haven't done that I want to do. And there's nothing holding me back. So as long as I have the means to do it, that's what I'm gonna do. And I'm gonna see at the end of the year, like all the different things that I have done to really just do something for myself, you know?
Yeah, it's good to document your experiences so that
Yeah.
you look back and say, okay, and even like, from your dream board, I
Mm-hmm.
had this on my dream board, I accomplished this. That's another thing that I do for self-care, you know what I mean? Because it gives you a visual to look at. But yeah,
Right.
that's good, Leslie, to be able to do something and then reflect on what you've done.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
well, good. I'm glad because you know what Miss Helen's gonna do? I'm
Oh.
gonna pick my battles. If it's something that is not significant enough, if enough people want to go a certain way, and I choose not to, I'm gonna say no and let them go and have
Mm-hmm.
their own way of doing whatever they want to because it takes a lot of energy out of you to take on a battle against something that you feel is wrong, against something that you're fighting for because you think it's the right thing. So
Mm-hmm.
I definitely have to help am learning to pick the battles that suit me, pick the battles that is worth winning.
Yes,
Because
that's
if
good.
someone want to go, if it, when they say that when you take a horse to the water and you can't make it drink, I don't want to have nobody drowning with me trying to get them to drink something that I think if they gonna drown on their own. So yes, that's what I plan to do. Um, to for self-help, not get not get excited over something that's not that important when I
Yeah,
have other things that I can do to replace it.
I know that's right.
That's beautiful, Miss
I
Helen.
like
A lot
that.
of time when we're thinking about self-care, we don't think about that. Something as simple as that, as choosing your battles, right?
Choosing
Mm-hmm.
your battle.
Because it can bring you that inner
Peace.
peace that Leslie was talking about. Like,
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm not gonna go crazy behind somebody else or something else or things that I
Now,
can't control. And so, yeah, that's absolutely part of
right.
self-care.
Even when they come back and tell you they was wrong, you don't fuss, you know how you just say, I'm glad you
Mm-hmm.
learned.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. Yeah. It's just beautiful you being here with you ladies and being able to share with those that we may never see or know,
Right.
something that might touch their lives that they had never thought about, something that speaks to them in a way that they can rise, as my Angelo says,
Still I
rise
rise.
and yeah, and so I'm excited about this. I really
Yeah.
want to continue.
I think one thing for me that I got away from, I used to sit and watch TED Talks, right?
Mm.
I love to watch TED Talks because they give me encouragement and all that. And one of the TED Talks that I found recently is a talk by, it's 11 minutes, right? And her name is Portia Jackson Preston. And she
Mm.
has a TED Talk on self-care. It's real short, but she defines self-care as any practice that helps to manage my stress and promote my well-being.
Mm.
And so that any practice. So like we started out, it's a broad
Mm-hmm.
range of anything, right?
Right.
So I think that's the one thing that I've gotten away from that really would bring me peace a lot is watching TED Talks, eating the meat, spit out the bones, and
Mm-hmm.
you know, um, love it. But you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Things
Yes.
that can encourage, and I'm gonna do more of the little excursions too, Leslie. When
Yeah.
so, I
Yes.
mean, find some excursions. I know for my oldest daughter, Precious, she used to always find little excursions.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe some that cost, but some that most that, especially us, in the Black community,
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't take part of. Like we take
Right.
part of, the Black Festival, and I think it's called something else now, and different
Emoji.
things like that. But not getting outside of our community to
Right.
explore things like, maybe a month or two ago, I just, took my granddaughter to the Fremont Bridge just to
Mm.
Mm.
stroll. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like that. We walked up through the little garden and, stuff like that. So yeah, just taking advantage, Leslie, like you said, and I've been encouraged by you to start looking up little, excursions, and by my daughter, Precious,
Yeah.
start looking up little excursions, because there's no reason why I shouldn't be able to take advantage of some of the little things.
Mm-hmm.
That's true. And since I think you ladies like water, I'll take you down there when I go fishing the next time.
Yeah, please. I want to go.
Yeah, yeah. I've been with Miss Helen on the low. We went down to Still Lake.
Mm.
You
Sat
did.
down there and brought my mom, and her and Miss Helen sat and talked, and we
I love Still Lake.
yeah.
Yeah, it's
So
beautiful.
that's something we can do. Maybe we could podcast from Still Lake,
Mm. That would be
That would be
nice.
right
interesting.
on the water,
Right?
to think about it. Well, with that being said, you guys have anything you want to share about your books? You're both lovely authors. You have anything new, or you wanted to share where to find your books, how to find your books, how to find you if someone wants to reach out to you? I am getting a Gmail account for the podcast, so people can find us there collectively as well.
Good.
Okay. Only thing I want to say is I'm just really glad for all three of our perspectives and our life experiences, our worldviews. That is, I think, going to be a really big gift that is getting ready to be unopened unto everyone. And as we get into these topics and start really, really just unpacking some things, I think it's going to be great. I do.
I follow your course. I actually really think so too. Being the author of 10 titles, I do mostly sci-fi, but I can write in any genre, and usually I'm shocking my readers because I don't I take you on a roller coaster journey. I'm not going to say that everyone likes my, but I won't bore you. I'm not known to do that. However, now I have branded my voice so that I can read some of my titles to people who are unable to read, or for some reason, prefer to listen. If you're driving along, or if you're um, just at home, and just want to hear, and it's my voice you will be hearing, and it's because I feel that if I write the story, I should be able to bring life to it.
Okay.
So,
Mm.
and so yes, I am like these two ladies. I think that we have a lot of things that we can discuss and bring forth that we will all benefit from.
Yeah.
Sure. Oh, and my website, if you decide you want to look me up, is HelenCollierMeow.com.
And I am your auntie, Lynn Reese.
Mhm.
LynnReese.com is where you can find me, my books, my products. Um, and with that, we're gonna get out of here, and hopefully we gave it to y'all straight, no chaser.
Ain't no chaser.